Hi, I'm David Arundel. I'm a faculty member here in the Department of Postsecondary Teaching and Learning within the College of Education and Human Development. I came here to the university in 2002. For me, I use primarily learning media inside of my first year course called Global History and Culture. Within my history course, I use a wide variety of learning technologies. I first started off by just simply taking VHS video and turning it into shortening it up using iMovie to make shorter video clips because the students commented that they liked shorter pieces and then have the opportunity to be able to discuss them. Another technology which I've added inside of the class is through a software program that's free online called Animoto in order to be able to make history-themed music videos in which they take some history topic that's important to them and they're able to create those. A third item which we've added using the iPad is to take the iPads out and conduct what we call history interviews, and since this was part of a learning community with an international literature course, the requirement was that they would go out and do interviews that somehow incorporated in cultures from outside the United States. And some people did ones that looked at religion, some who looked at food products, others who looked at music. Another one, which I've added to the class, is called Extra Normal, which is a free software program available through YouTube in which you're able to create animated videos of characters talking to one another. And the one that I made was Adam Smith representing capitalism having a fictitious conversation with Karl Marx, who was co-founder of socialism. And surprisingly, I just checked the other night to see what the viewership was, and nearly 5,000 people have watched that one thus far, and it seems to have inspired a whole host of other ones that are on the same topic. The one that I've been doing for the past, let's say, I guess 5 or 6 years has been audio podcasting, in which we as a class come together and create what we might call podcasting, as I share it with people, is a internet radio show that is automatically delivered to your computer. And then oftentimes you can also be able to sync that to your iPad, your iPad, your iPod, and also to your desktop computer, in which we review the course and add on certain supplemental learning activities. And those would probably be a handful of the most common ones that I use. A new project for this term was using smartphones, iPads, or other mobile devices to conduct video interviews with people. The idea was that for students to be able to create part of their own learning experience. So we sent students out with the mission to create some sort of an interview with someone who could be an informant on a historical issue or a common event that's occurring now. However, the requirement was that it had to be international in scope. So what students did is that they used apps on either their smartphones, their iPads, or other devices to be able to go out and record video interviews with people in the community. A common place that people went to, it just so happened the week that I assigned this, it was Culture Week over at Kaufman Union, in which every single day there was some sort of an event, an interview, a public event, or a food sharing that featured different cultures of students who are attending here at the university. Students were only asked to do just a little bit of editing on the video project and then to upload it to YouTube. And that turned out to be highly successful with the students. Many of them who were using iPads were using iMovie, but actually nearly all the mobile devices have some sort of a simple editing software which can enable them to tidy up the beginning and the end of the video in order to make it just a little bit nicer. These were all limited to about 5 to 7 minutes long, and they were highly successful for students. I also had them work in small groups. One person prepared the questions, one person served as the on-air talent who was actually doing the interviewing, and the other person was in charge of doing the recording and doing the editing then. the very first thing that I did with using iPads inside my class, and it could be for any other mobile device too, was to replace the textbook. I had gotten to the point to where I was frustrated that the textbook prices continued to escalate. The very final semester I used a textbook, it had gone up to $125 paperback, and I was unable to find a less expensive version of a global history introductory course. So what I did is that I worked with the university librarians to identify what were available online documents, primary documents, that I could incorporate in and have students access through the course Moodle site. The second thing that I did is that I went and found what were the online accessible history journals, and I went in and selected individual topics and created bundles for each one of the learning topics inside my class. So they had a collection of primary source documents, they had analysis articles about those history events, and also I had recorded and received permission from other podcasters to be able to use some of their audio or video podcast episodes as part of my class assignments, in which they were able to watch those through their smartphones or through their iPads. And that really enabled me to be able to make the move, and it helped me in other ways. It got me out of being somewhat controlled by the chapters out of the paper document. Now it's thematically based rather than thinking about how am I going to deal with 18 chapters out of a textbook within a 15-week semester. I know for most people that should have been really obvious, but I didn't see that. I am so happy to be able to move to this. Interesting thing about moving to the online resources, one time I was trying to find a way to phrase the question in class on what was their impression of it, because we also have done surveying with them about that. But it was really an interesting response. Students really didn't express appreciation for me doing this. Their expression back to me was, why haven't you instructors done this years ago? So I was really kind of amused with their comment, and I really appreciated their candor. In looking at the experience over the past 2 years working with the tablet computers in my class and also with audio podcasting for the past 5 years, a couple of the initial themes of reaction from students would include they appreciate the opportunity to be able to eliminate the cost for textbooks, and also they like the idea that they don't have to lug around an entire backpack full of books for a class, and instead they're able to access everything on their iPad, for example, or if they have really good eyesight, they can also read them on some of the smart telephones that are out there. So they appreciate the move to an electronic online set of documents. They appreciate that. Second theme that I notice is that they really enjoy multimedia, and they like the idea of being able to create their own multimedia learning projects and artifacts for the class. So creating the history music videos, conducting the small groups that conducted the history interviews. Those are both been really high priority topics. In fact, I asked the students if I have permission to be able to share those with future classes, and many of the students are able to give me permission to be able to do so, and I'll actually use some of these little short history music videos on specific topics as a interest item at the beginning or at the end of a unit. They really seem to appreciate media that moves quickly, that has visual impact, and is something which is very meaningful to the creator, and the students themselves react really quite well to that. So those are two major themes I think that have come out. They like this idea of being able to learn on the go. They like the ability to have different places that they're able to access the material, and they seem to enjoy the creativity that is afforded by using mobile devices, whether they be smartphones, iPads, Androids, or whatever, to be able to help co-create the learning experience. And that's something I guess that's really an overarching theme for me, is that I'm still a part of the class, I'm still in charge of organizing things, but the more that I have the opportunity to be able to let the students themselves be able to co-create the learning experience with their own materials, the better it is. And for that reason, I find that media has been very helpful.